Welcome to this episode of the Body Harmonics Podcast. Hi, I'm Renee McLaughlin, and I am joined by my co host, Monica Gose. And today we have something that's really, really important that we need to discuss with you. I really hope that you stick around and really listen to what I'm about to share. So, in our Western society, we have been really trained, if you will, to go to medical professionals whenever we aren't feeling well, whether that be doctors, hospitals. You get the picture. In other words, that we go to other people to tell us what's wrong and then to do something about it to help us. And there are times where absolutely that is the absolute perfect and most appropriate thing to do. We know that. I'm not going to patronize you to say if you're in a car accident, go heal yourself. Okay. We get that. Okay. However, at this point in where we are in our history, healthcare, and I'm speaking specifically for the United States, but I'm going to make an assumption it's around, quite a bit around the world, is becoming very, very expensive. I know in the United States, our health insurance is now going up dramatically. So many of us simply cannot afford health insurance. And on top of that, many of our professionals in hospitals, particularly in more rural communities, are closing. We just heard that there were a couple of rural hospitals in Georgia that are closing. So, what are we going to do? How are we going to help ourselves, key, to get and stay healthy? And that's what our conversation is going to be about today. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Monica with the introduction of Monica to let you know that Monica has studied metaphysics for many, many, many years and has really dug down deep, studying very specific healing metaphysics with a spiritual guru over the last couple of years. And what she has learned has absolutely transformed her life as well as so many others. That's what she's going to be speaking about today. So thanks, Monica. I'm just turning it right on over to you.
Thank you, Renee. And yes, the person she's referring to is a metaphysical master, and this is his book, Supercharged Self-Healing by R.J. Spina. Now, if you don't know about R.J., he healed himself of permanent chest down paralysis, as well as 5 other incurable, some genetic, some life-threatening illnesses, and he did it in 100 days. And he did it by his wisdom and knowledge and remembrance of the true metaphysics. And this is a key. So when we remember who and what we really are and how we're actually created, we're created in the image and likeness of our creator. And our bodies are designed in absolute perfection to heal themselves. However, they do require support. And the support that we're going to talk about after I finish talking about RJ is the BioHealing stream, which brings in the biological photon light. So this is something that Renee and I have recently gotten involved with. And it is a new form of support and assistance for our bodies to be able to have the energy required to heal themselves. And like I said, this gentleman proved to us that it can be done and that we all have the power to do this. And as Renee was saying, as healthcare becomes unaffordable for so many, this is something that, use it as a catalyst to empower yourself to do what we were designed to do. Remember who you are. Remember, you are the creator and you have this ability. So how it really ties in. So one of the things RJ teaches is he doesn't like to use the word soul or spirit, because these words, what does that really mean? It means something different to everyone. Everybody has their own personal definition of what those things mean. So he talks about sentience. We are made in the image and likeness of God, which is sentience, given energy with which to create. So when we started working with Gary and Taya and the BioHealing stream, I've heard Gary say in many interviews, including some he did with us, that every cell has a soul, and that's the light that's around the cell. And my brain just wasn't kind of connecting the dots for a couple months about how does that line up, how is that in alignment with what RJ is saying. And it just came to me last night. It's like, oh, sentience plus energy with which to, so that's the energy, that halo of light around the cell, that is the energy we're given with which to create. So that energy is what is required by every cell in order to be able to be healthy. And Gary noticed this under the microscope, that healthy cells have a very strong, bright halo of light around them. And when they become distorted and weak, they begin, and they're prematurely dying, then the light is dim and their shape is distorted. So what happens with the BioHealing stream is it brings that living biological photon light through either through a television, if you have streaming through that, or your phone or your laptop or tablet. It's using the same principle as streaming music or streaming a movie, but actually transmitting that biological, living, intelligent light of creator into your field. And this has been scientifically proven with their studies with the BioWell machines, where they can test the amount of biological, the photons that are radiating from your body. They did 24 subjects before and after the BioStream, BioHealing, and I think we showed that in one of our other videos. So all of the documentation, the studies are there, the clinical proof. And so I just thought it was really interesting how it tied in, because I always like to measure things on that yardstick of, what is the truth of this metaphysically? Where does this fit in to the metaphysics? And when I realized that, oh, that's how so now I'm like totally excited because it matches up. And by increasing the light in our body, that is giving us the energy. It gives the cells the energy to replicate and make you, help you feel better. And this light, because it does come directly from, the natural sunlight that's being harnessed, which is creator, everything requires this light to live. So it's the same light that creates the photosynthesis in plants, and it powers and fuels our physical vehicles. So I just was excited to share that insight, because I love it when all of the teaching, they all line up, right? So they're all telling us something, just maybe in a little different way, but it's very relevant that it comes together like that.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing it. And Monica was very excited. And she called me. It's like, okay, I get this now. Because before she was like, Renee, what does that even mean? I don't understand.
Exactly. Everything.
What is this about the soul and the cell? And then boom, I told you, I love getting those ahas, especially like in the middle of the night. I wake up and I'm like, oh, okay, now I get it. I didn't get it before. So we wanted to share that with you guys. And again, I know I probably don't need to say this, but I feel from appropriateness standpoint, it's important. Monica and I are not suggesting that if you are morbid, really sick, etc., that you don't go see anybody, you just sit in your house and stream. No, it's more than that. But this is a root of a root. And I think that's just really important. When we can have these kinds of tools, we can't heal if we don't have energy. Right? Don't you know? How do you feel when you don't have any energy? Like, I know I'm right now in Georgia where I live. The last 3 days, it has been just raining and cloudy. And you know what? I'm like this.
Mhm.
And I know tomorrow it's going to be sunny, and just being out in the sun, I'm going to be like, oh, I have energy. Now I feel like doing something. That's just a little visual, maybe that will help you. We need to have that energy. And the other thing that the biophotons give us too are all those codes. There's information in this. There's information. And just make sure, structure your water with it. Drink the water so that you're also bathing your cells actually physically in that way with this light and information. And last thing, because it's just tickling me as well. You said it made you so happy. This is what's tickling me. I have I have two little house plants. I have them in my kitchen. Okay. Now, anybody that knows me knows I would love to be able to garden. I would let the idea of it all just thrills me to pieces. But I've let me just say this, up until now, there's all kind of possibilities, but up until now, I have not, I don't garden. And when I've tried, it's not been a raging success. I'll just say it this way. So when I moved into this house almost 8 years ago, I got these two little house plants, and I water them and they sit there. They're not in the sun. Okay. They're not sun plants. And I've never killed them, which is really good for me. They're not killed because obviously I'm going to have a nice environment. Well, recently now, I always have my water every time I use the BioStream. It's here in the BioStream, and then I bring it in and I put it in my big jug of water. Okay. So I have two of them, and they're filled with this light infused water. And you guys, you would not believe what my plants look like. I mean, yes, I water them here and there. They don't require much. And yes, I'm using that light. But for the most part, they're just thriving. And I know it's because that stream is emitting those beautiful biophotons with that beautiful healing energy. So I figure, heck, if it's good for my plants, I know it's doing beautiful things for my body. So I just want to say that as well. And again, it is time, you guys. We need to empower ourselves to take as good care of ourselves as we possibly can. And, maybe not run to others so quickly unless it's really a real emergency situation. So hopefully.
Yeah, and I do want to add, absolutely. Renee and I are not doctors, and don't take our advice as we're telling you not to do that. Absolutely not. If you're currently dealing with something and you're working with a doctor, absolutely, let them know what you're doing, and let them be surprised at how this might really change things for you, because some people are already having those kinds of experiences. And I just want to circle back to what Renee said about the light codes. When at the point of conception, there is a halo of light that happens. And that has been documented. You can just search for it. You'll find it. There's video of it. And that is the biological photon light. That's the light from the creator that has what she was talking about, your light codes. That's all of the information that your body will use to replicate the different systems within it. So that is the light that informs the stem cells as to what they're going to turn into and how to build your body. So that is huge, to have that biological photon light and to be able to just empower yourself. And, like we said, this is more, we can see the handwriting on the wall. We can see that, access to the traditional Western medical systems that we've had here are getting more and more out of reach for more and more people. So let's start talking about what can each and every one of us do to empower ourselves and also to deal with, some of the mental and emotional stuff that, in this biohealing stream, it works on all levels: mental, emotional, physical, spiritual. And, avail yourselves of teachings like this to learn, what can you do to be more in charge of your own personal wellness. And, we were designed to radiate, beauty and strength. And, we weren't designed to be falling apart. All of that is happening from a lot of our environmental conditions. And being able to increase our inner light is going to help us in every way. People are having all kinds of great results with this. So I'll give it a try. Renee will talk to you about providing a link to a free session so that you can have an experience of it. This is something that truly must be experienced so that you will know then you'll know.
I will know. And even if it's just, it's massive, just a relaxation, a reduction of stress, which is one of the things that causes so much of our chronic conditions. That's one of the things it absolutely does right from the start. So thanks, Monica, for sharing that. And thank you all for watching. And if you would like your free session, just email me at bodyharmonics@substack.com, free session, and we'll be happy to get you a link so that you also can experience this. And in the meantime, move freely, heal deeply, and flow with ease on the light.
Thank you, Renee.